Hello everyone, this is Paul, and this is Come Touch of Fantasy. Today we're talking about my January wrap-up and what I have planned for February. So January was a decent month for me. I was able to read 2 graphic novels, I listened to 2 audiobooks, and I read 4 books and almost finished that 5th book. But not quite. Okay, so starting out, I read Saga Volume 1 and Volume 2. These are graphic novels. I thought these were just okay. They weren't as good as a lot of people think they are. They're not really for me that much. They're not necessarily bad, but I don't actually really love them either. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to read a 3rd volume. I do have it from the library, but I haven't even picked it up yet, so I don't know if I'm just going to return it or if I'm going to read it or not. But they were just okay for me. I gave them a 3 out of 5. The first audiobook I read was Lock-In by John Scalzi. I really loved Lock-In by John Scalzi. It was my favorite book of the month. I loved the background and history of the disease and the technology and the different players in the book, like the different political players and the corporation players, the people in the FBI. I thought it was a great book. I thought it was even a better world, and it was my favorite book of the month. I gave it a 5 out of 5. The other audiobook that I listened to this month was The Ghost Brigades by John Scalzi. The different main character of Jared Dirac was a lot different than John Perry. It took me a while to get used to that. I was a little disappointed at first, but once I got used to that and just accepted it, I ended up liking the story. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Alright, the first physical book that I read was Prince of Fools by Mark Lawrence. I enjoyed the character of Jalen and Snorri. I enjoyed their quest line. It was an interesting book, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. It's not a deep book by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a good, classic 2 buddies going on a quest to save people. The next book that I read was Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson. I read this with the fantasy and sci-fi read-along group that Caitlin leads. I enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5. If you want a book that challenges you and throws you in the middle of a large world and you have to try to figure out what's going on, I definitely recommend this book. It's the type of book where there's a lot of plot lines and they all converge at the end. So if you like that type of book, check that out. So for a change of pace, I ended up reading Sputnik Sweetheart by Haruki Murakami. This was the first Murakami book that I've ever read. I enjoyed the actual story and I enjoyed the characters, but when it came to the surrealism part, the things that were kind of magical realism, I don't think it was implemented that great into this book. It wasn't necessarily bad, but the implementation of it was kind of clunky. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5. I felt if that book was longer, I think it would have been a lot better. And then I read All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is a historical fiction novel. I gave this a 4 out of 5. It talks about 2 children growing up during World War II and the atrocities that they had to deal with and the world that they have to live in. I really enjoyed this book. It's one of the books that's going to stick with me, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. The last book I read in January is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I'm actually not finished this book. I have about 250 pages left, but I wanted to mention that this is the book I'm currently reading. I'm reading this for myself first, but also for the Year and Cosmere read-along. I'm enjoying this a lot. The whole flying around thing, at first, it was cool, but it was just a little bit too much at first. But now that there's more character development, I'm starting to really enjoy it a lot more. Alright, so, Paul, what's your plans for February? First, my plan for February is to finish Mistborn. I want to finish this within the next couple days, and then I'll probably write a review on it. So I realize that there's a lot of buddy reads going around. I try to limit my buddy read just so I don't feel like I'm trapped in my TBR for the month. And I don't really like to create a TBR for the entire month because what I feel like reading now might not be what I feel like reading 3 weeks from now. The 2 buddy reads that I'm committing for this month is the first 2 books of the Amber Chronicles by Roger Zelazny. Rachel Kalanandi is hosting this. I tried to say the name right. I think I failed. But yeah, the first two books of the Amber Chronicles. I'm really looking forward to this. I've been wanting to read an older fantasy book for a couple weeks now, and it's going to be nice to read some fantasy from the 70s and see what their take on what fantasy was back then. The other first sure read-along that I'm going to do is Dead House Gates by Steven Erikson. Once again, Caitlin is going to be doing the buddy reads with this, and I really enjoyed the buddy reads with Guardians of the Moon. And since Malazan is the book series that I really want to read this year the most, I'm very happy to have a group of people that I can discuss my thoughts and my issues with the book with. It's been a lot of fun so far. Now, there are other buddy reads that I might join in. I'm not really sure yet. I just really wanted to only pick a few, and then if I feel like joining the others, I will. I don't try to plan a whole lot because, like I said, I like to just go with what I'm feeling at that moment. But I wouldn't mind reading a good nonfiction book this month. I'm thinking about reading the Quiet book, the book about introverts. I think that sounds like an interesting book. I bought it a couple years ago, and I just haven't read it yet. And I think I might read it this month. And also, I wouldn't mind reading an Agatha Christie book this month. Agatha Christie is my favorite author. Not many of you guys know that yet. Some of you guys do. But yeah, Agatha Christie, I love her books. The murder mystery genre is something that I fell in love with years ago. And I'm thinking about reading one of the Perot books that I have not read yet. So I'm thinking about doing that. As far as the BookTube channel goes, I want to be able to create better content for my channel. I want to be able to talk more clearly, more intelligently about the books that I've read. I need to put a little bit more time into creating the reviews that I review. I do review every book that I read, so that does take up a lot of time, and each one of my reviews is usually about 1,000 words, sometimes even more than that. So it makes me write and practice my writing and also doing something that I love. Because not only do I love reading, I also want to become a better writer. So that's why I write those reviews for every book that I read. I need to use better diction, better vocabulary. I need to phrase my thoughts better, and I'm going to try to put more time into it this month and create better videos and just present myself as a more intelligent and more serious reader. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. That's what I read in January. That's what my plans are for February. Let me know what you're going to be reading, and I hope to talk to each one of you. Comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.